What defines a roguelike game? You see, roguelikes are some of the most creative and fun games I've played, but the rules seem to vary quite a bit from game to game. It used to include parameters such as turn-based combat, or it had to be a dungeon crawler. But they've changed and adapted so much over the years that for the purposes of this video, I'm going to define a roguelike as a game that has randomly generated elements every time you play, and death permanence. A game over means starting from the beginning. But even that has some exceptions. It's a loose definition, but those are the main aspects that set roguelikes apart from most other games. Perhaps a harder question is, what makes roguelikes fun to play? I asked my Twitter followers why they enjoy roguelikes, and I'll be referencing some of those answers throughout this video. I've also asked Josh from GamingFTL to help me out with this one. Say hi, Josh.
Hi folks, today on Good Game Design, let's talk about the nothing held back principle.
Man, that's a nice accent. I wanted to discuss Spelunky today and use it as a springboard to talk about roguelikes on a broader spectrum. Spelunky quickly became one of my favorite games a few years ago, and actually is how I got my start here on this channel. Yeah, Spelunky Let's Plays for the win. I tried to focus in on why I loved this game so much, and I think it comes down to how it and several other roguelikes handle difficulty and replayability. Let's start with the difficulty.
If you've never played Spelunky before, it's a brutally hard game. Despite its cartoonish atmosphere, Spelunky will kick your ass over and over again. As your treasure hunt leads deeper into the earth, you'll face all sorts of hazards, monsters, and even aliens. Equipped with only a whip, some bombs, and ropes, every step needs to be carefully considered, as it may be your last. But why is it so hard? Well, it employs something we'll call the nothing held back principle. You see, unlike most games where the difficulty rises as you get further into the game, many roguelikes don't change the pattern of enemies over time at all, and will just be the same level of difficulty from the first time you boot up the game to the 100th. Of course, the game technically gets harder as you enter new biomes, but a giant spider is always going to behave the same way no matter when you encounter it. This is necessary because of how roguelikes are designed. If it's going to be randomly generated every time you play, it has to have all the elements present from the get-go. Unfortunately, this just means that it's going to be a large hurdle to overcome in the beginning.
Now on the surface, that might seem like bad game design. Why would you make your game so tough from the start? Wouldn't that make players want to quit if it's too frustrating? And while that can be true to an extent, the challenge is actually a big part of what draws players in. As Paranautical put it, it's the genre that encourages you to get better because each experience will be different, so you really gotta know your stuff. Or as Zet237 said, they're unforgiving. They don't say, oh, was that too hard? Sorry, but more like, get good or die trying. But when you finally mastered them, oh boy, you feel like a god. So there's a little bit of the motivational punishment principle going on too. I can't say that I've thrown my controller out of resentment more than I have at Spelunky, and yet I kept coming back to it. As you learn to not break open pots with your whip because there might be an enemy hiding inside, or to look out for arrow traps before you jump down a ledge, you adjust your playstyle to overcome the obstacles that bested you so many times before. Except for the shopkeepers, because those dudes are just made to ruin your day. But seriously, I've only beaten Spelunky a handful of times, and every single win was a triumphant victory because of the challenge. That's what made it so sweet.
But all of this would be for nothing if the game didn't feel fair. There's a fine line between hard and cheap, but Spelunky never feels like it wrongs you. Everything is telegraphed, and once you learn an enemy's set patterns, you can predict how they'll react to you and how to take them down. Once you've played a roguelike enough times, you'll have an inbuilt understanding of its systems. That lets you adapt to any variation in its environment. And that is why Spelunky has replayability. If you feel like every hit wasn't justified, you would just quit after the first few lives. But it does feel justified, and you know how to respond differently the next time. But the fact that everything is random keeps you on your toes through every playthrough. As Heavy-Eyed put it, it's like gambling. The game of chance in a new setting makes you be like, this time I will get lucky and get it. Or Snooping Turtle, who said, roguelikes have replay value because it feels like you're improving with each run.
And the length of Spelunky, as well as many other roguelikes, helps with replayability as well. Most of them are on average about an hour or so to complete. You just have to actually survive long enough to finish them. But this fast pick up and play approach makes the replay value shoot through the roof. Everything is there from the start. You won't have to go through the easy levels to get back to where you were, and you know each attempt is only gonna last you a short amount of time. Not to mention the fact that every game is different, so it keeps from getting stale.
The final element that keeps roguelikes interesting, especially for me, are the secrets. Sure, there might be a normal way to beat the game, but a lot of roguelikes will have a secret ending or special items that you have to work extra hard to find. Spelunky might be the best example of this. Let me tell you all the requirements to unlock an entire bonus world and second boss fight. In the mines, a golden chest will randomly spawn on one of the levels, and you have to find a key on the same floor to unlock it. This will give you the Udjet. Edit this so I don't sound like an idiot. Udjet Eye. Now, it does more than just show you gems in the wall. It will also start blinking in the jungle when you are close to the secret black market entrance. This is always hidden behind some terrain, so it would be really hard to find without the Udjet Eye. Again, randomly placed every time. In the black market, you can purchase all kinds of upgrades and items, but the important one here is the Ankh. It's $50,000, so you'll have to save up or brave the onslaught of shopkeepers if you try to steal it. But once you have the Ankh, you then need to be on the lookout for the Moai head in the ice caves. When you see it, you actually need to kill yourself, as the Ankh will bring you back to life inside the statue, giving you the headjet. In the temple, if you kill Anubis and take his scepter, you can enter the City of Gold. But only if you have both the scepter and the headjet. Finally, you can get the Book of the Dead in the City of Gold, which will allow you to enter the secret area called Hell while fighting Olmec, the original final boss. You have to cause Olmec to fall into the lava right underneath the entrance to Hell and use him as a platform to enter. This place is mayhem and will really put the skills that you've learned previously to the test. But the final boss, Yama, is extremely satisfying to fight, and I just love that there's all this extra game to play for those who are up to the challenge.
So what makes Spelunky have good game design? Well, What's With Games might have put it best when he said, roguelikes more than any other genre intertwine player growth and character growth. The length makes them easy to just sit down and have a quick game of, and the randomized experiences of each playthrough lets them never get old. Roguelikes have the ability to make us feel accomplished in ways that many other games can only dream of. It might take days, weeks, months of chipping away at it before you ever beat them, but the feeling you get when you finally do is unparalleled. Watching yourself go from clueless and getting destroyed in less than 5 minutes to being able to react in every way that you need in order to succeed makes you feel like a better gamer, and probably a better person in general. Put that stuff on your resume. But I hope we'll continue to see more elements of roguelikes inspire games in the future, to branch out and try something new, because there's nothing like them. Tell me in the comments below why you like roguelike games. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching another episode of Good Game Design. Stay frosty, my friends.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to me, Snowman, and especially Josh for more videos like this. And to keep up with what we're doing, follow us on Twitter and support us on Patreon. Until next time, stay frosty, my friends.